Hello guys, and welcome to my channel. So since I shared my journey to Canada online, I've had a lot of people getting in touch with me, and everybody is asking the same question. Evans, how can we also move to Canada? Because they are all thinking that times are hard and this might be the time for them to seek some greener pastures. I came through the student route, but in this video I will be sharing with you 5 other ways that you can use to migrate to Canada if you choose to do so. So join me as we go through them. Before we go any further, there's one thing I've realized. Most of you are enjoying my content, but you are not subscribing. What's going on? The only thing that I will want from you is to hit the subscribe button. Tap on the notification button so that any new content that I share, YouTube will notify you. And don't forget to hit the share button so that you can share my content with other people who are in the same situation like you, or people who also want to learn how to move to Canada so they can join this family. That's the only gift that I want from you for my next birthday. So I'll hold on a minute whilst you hit the subscribe button. Thank you. Guys, there's some good news. Between 2022 to 2024, Canada plans to welcome about 1.3 million immigrants into Canada. And you can be one of them if you choose to make a decision and at least use one of these routes between that period. From my experience on this journey, I have realized that there are numerous ways that you can use to move to Canada, but I'm not going to bore you by going through all of them. In this video, I'm just going to go through just 5 of these ways that you can use to migrate to Canada, at least from 2022 and beyond, so that you can be part of that 1.3 million additional immigrants that Canada will be expecting during this period. And all these ways are just beside the study permit route that I have been showing you in my old videos. The truth is, immigration to Canada is not easy. Don't let anybody lie to you. I've met people who have come through different ways and means, and every single one of them will tell you that you need patience and diligence to be able to make it to Canada, because there are many steps that you need to go through to get approved and successfully move to Canada. Even those who are going through the study permit route will tell you that you need to go through the stress of finding a school that matches your needs in the province that you want, apply, get admitted. Then after getting admitted, now you need to prepare your documents and submit it for a study permit approval. And even when you are approved, you need to now go through the time to successfully move to Canada and settle in so that you can get that permanent residence that you've always been looking for. And all these processes can take months, and even for some people it takes years. So you need patience to get through it. But the truth is, if you know what options are available to you, it will help you to avoid all the pitfalls along the way and improve your chances of at least migrating to Canada between 2022 and 2024. Knowing your options can also help you to avoid delays, because most people who even know what they want sometimes make mistakes along the way, which ends up delaying their whole process of getting to Canada. On my channel, I've been trying my utmost best to use my own journey to educate you on how you can come to Canada, be it for visiting, studying, working, and also stay to be successful there and get your permanent residence, so that you can finally get the Canadian citizenship that everyone has been fighting for. So now let's get into those 5 options that I think you can use to migrate to Canada from 2022 and beyond, so that you can pick the one that meets your needs and use them accordingly and join us in Canada, at least in the coming years or months. The first option is Express Entry Program. This is a Canadian immigration program that allows migrants to move to Canada, live and work as skilled workers through the Express Entry system. This system allows Citizenship and Immigration Canada, that's CIC, to proactively assess, recruit, and select migrants who are skilled and possess the necessary qualification and skill sets that Canada is looking for under the federal economic immigration programs. And there are 3 of these economic immigration programs. These are the Federal Skilled Worker Program, that's the FSWP, the Federal Skilled Trade Program, that's the FSTP, and the Canadian Experience Class, that's the CEC. To make it easy for you to understand, I look at it this way. The Federal Skilled Worker Program, that's like white-collar jobs. The Federal Skilled Trade Program, that's like blue-collar jobs. So the white-collar jobs are like doctors, those ones that require degree and qualifications. Then the blue-collar jobs, those are like your plumbers, your butchers, and all that. When I was coming in, I had butchers who were coming into Canada because they've been invited to come in through this particular program. And the Canadian Experience class is basically people who have studied and lived in Canada, and as a result, they have Canadian work experience. So they qualify under this program. We'll go through each one of these so that you get a proper understanding of each one of them. The Express Entry program also allows territories and provinces to use the system to recruit candidates under the provincial nominee programs to meet their local labor market demands. The second option that you can use to immigrate to Canada is the family class sponsorship. Family unification remains the cornerstone of Canadian immigration policy. So families in Canada can sponsor their relatives to immigrate to Canada on a permanent basis. But in order to qualify to sponsor a relative to move to Canada, you have to at least be a permanent resident or a citizen of Canada to be able to do so. And also you have to note that the people that you can sponsor under this program are your spouses and children under the age of 22 years. Sponsoring your parents and your grandparents is no longer an option at the time I'm making this video. But there is a hope that that option might be opened up in the coming months or years so that you can be able to sponsor your parents to come in, or even sponsor your grandparents to come in through that particular program. So just keep an eye out for those ones too. However, you can bring your parents or your grandparents into Canada through the super visa category. So if you are interested in doing that, try to engage a registered immigration consultant or a lawyer to help you in that process. The third option is the LMIA work visa. LMIA simply means Labor Market Impact Assessment. With this option, you as an applicant who is interested in moving to Canada will now have to explore your options in Canada, look for options, get a suitable job, apply, get job offers, and then you can apply for a work permit visa to move to Canada on that basis, so you can immigrate to Canada in the long run. A labor market impact assessment is a document that the employer who is recruiting you to bring you to Canada will need to get before he can employ a foreign worker. A positive LMI simply means that there is a need for you as a worker in Canada, because he needs to justify why they couldn't find anybody in Canada and they need to bring you in particular into Canada to come and do that particular job. So basically, he needs to prove that there is no Canadian in Canada who can do that job, or even a permanent resident who is currently in Canada who can fill that particular position, and that they need you in particular to come into Canada to do that particular job. So you see what the amount of work that one is involved. That's why sometimes this is one of the difficult ways that most people find when they decide to move to Canada. So as much as people will tell you to go looking for jobs online and all that, sometimes you can get a job, but the amount of work that the employer needs to do just to get you into Canada might be too much that they will be stick to just finding somebody in Canada. And you have to be a special talent before they will go through that stress just for you. But if you are one of those few lucky people who have an employer who is prepared to go through the stress of getting the LMI just for you, then he can get this document through Service Canada. And you can attach this particular document to your work permit application when it's finally approved during your visa application process. This is a very involved process, but if you are able to go through it successfully, it can lead you to Canadian permanent residency. The fourth option is the Provincial Nominee Programs, also known as the PNPs. The PNP route is increasingly becoming one of those popular routes that people are using to migrate to Canada because of the benefits that it offers you. So basically, the PNP routes are ways that, like I said earlier, most of these provinces use to at least recruit, assess, and bring in people to come and fill labor shortages in their individual provinces. And when you are lucky enough to be invited through this route, you get 600 points in addition to the points that you have in the express entry. So it's like when you are invited through this route, you know for sure that the next draw that is held when it comes to express entry, you are going to be invited. And the chance of you coming to Canada in the next 12 months is very high. Canadian provinces like Alberta, Ontario, and British Columbia have developed their own immigration program that can sometimes lead to a faster track for immigration. So if you are interested in at least going to any of these provinces, you should look into them and see whether you can use them as a way to get to Canada. However, there's one thing that you have to know if you choose to use this route. That is the PMP to come into Canada. Anybody who comes through the PMP route, you are supposed to reside in that particular province for a couple of months because they are counting on you to fill labor shortage in that particular province. So when you come in, there is a requirement for you to stay in that particular province for a couple of years before you can now make a decision to move to any province that you choose to. And the other thing is some of these PMPs sometimes will require you to have a valid job offer from a Canadian employer before you can at least qualify. So make sure you do your research if this is one of the routes that you want to come through. And if you need help, my advice is always to reach out to a registered immigration consultant or an immigration lawyer. And if you need help finding one, just hit out to me. I'll try and recommend a few that I've known or a few that I've worked with that you can also work with and at least realize your dream of coming to Canada. Now let's look at some of these PMP programs that exist that at least you can look at if you are interested in coming to Canada. The first one is the Alberta Immigrants Nominee Program. That's the AINP. This is a program that is being operated on behalf of the Alberta government. The Alberta PMP or the AINP allows the Alberta government to go out, recruit people who have the necessary skill sets and training to fill labor shortages in the Alberta province. Under the Alberta Provincial Nominee Program, you may qualify under two streams, and these are the Alberta Opportunity Stream and the Self-Employed Farmer Stream. The second one is the British Columbia Provincial Nominee Program, also known as the BCPMP. If you are interested in living in British Columbia, then this particular Provincial Nominee Program is just for you. So just start doing your research on that particular one. British Columbia is one of the fastest growing provinces in Canada, with cities like Vancouver and Victoria. So if you are interested in living in any of these cities, then my advice is start doing your research on the British Columbia Provincial Nominee Program, because job opportunities in BC are very attractive to foreign workers who are looking for long-term stable employment. With the BCPMP, there are three streams that you can use to fast-track your immigration to Canada. That's the BCPMP Skills Immigration, the BCPMP Entrepreneurship Immigration, and the BCPMP Tech Pilots. So if you are interested in moving to BC through the Provincial Nominee Program, then you can look into any of these three particular streams that at least meets your requirements. Then you can now go ahead and apply accordingly. The next one is the Manitoba Provincial Nominee Program. That's the MPNP. And this particular one is for the province that I'm currently living in. So if you are interested in joining us in Manitoba, then you should look into the MPNP. It might be the way for you to move to Canada or fast track your immigration process if the other streams are not working for you. But my advice is if you're interested in coming to Manitoba, then you have to get ready for the cold because it's very cold here. As you can see in some of my old videos I've posted. Myself, I love cold, but I was shocked when I got here to find out how cold I can get. As I'm shooting this video, it's currently minus 14 degrees. And when you get out, it feels like minus 25. So if you are interested in coming to Manitoba, just get ready for the cold. I'm sitting here shooting the video and I'm already layered up, but it's a nice place to be. So if you're interested in coming to Manitoba, look into the MPNP as a way to move here. Under the Manitoba Provincial Nominee Program, there are 4 streams that possibly you can qualify under. So do your research under them and see which one at least meets your need so you can apply under it accordingly. There is a Skilled Worker Overseas Stream. That's for people who are coming from overseas. Then there is a Skilled Worker in Manitoba stream. That's mainly for people who are currently living in Manitoba. The international education stream and the business investor stream. So if you are interested in coming to Manitoba, just look into any of these four and see which one you can use to at least join us and enjoy the cold weather in Manitoba. The next one is the Newfoundland and Labrador Provincial Nominee Program. That's the NLPMP. This particular program is for people who are interested in moving to the Newfoundland and Labrador province to live and work there. So if from your research of the provinces, Newfoundland and Labrador is a place that you would love to at least reside, live and work and possibly build a family, then you should look using this particular Provincial Nominee Program to enter Canada and living in Newfoundland and Labrador. But remember that under this particular stream, applicants are supposed to meet a particular criteria, like having a job or a job offer, the ability to economically establish, and the intent to live in that particular province before you can be nominated for permanent residency. But if it's something that you are interested in, there are 3 streams that you can use to enter this particular province. The first one is the skilled worker stream. Then we have the international graduate stream and the international entrepreneur stream. So if you are interested, you can at least research into any of these 3 and see which one you can use to at least enter Newfoundland and Labrador. Then there's a New Brunswick Provincial Nominee Program. That's the NBPMP. When it comes to this particular province, there are several ways that you can use to enter. At least there are 7 that I know of. You have the skilled worker with employer support, skilled worker with family support, entrepreneurial stream, express entry labor stream, international graduate stream, postgraduate entrepreneurial stream, and the Succession Connect pilots. So there are 7 of them to be exact. And in this case, like all the other provinces, successful applicants will receive the New Brunswick Provincial nomination, which will fast track their process of coming to Canada through the express entry program. Like I said, when you get nominated through any of these provincial nominee program, you get 600 points, which basically jumps you over everybody into like the top tier. So you know that the next draw, you are getting invited to come to Canada as a permanent resident. You can also look at the Nova Scotia Provincial Nominee Program. That's the NSPMP. If Nova Scotia is a place that you would like to at least live and work and used to at least migrate to Canada. And like all the other provincial nominee programs, you'll be required to at least stay in Nova Scotia for a couple of years before you can move to any particular province of your choice. Under this particular program, there are exactly 6 streams that you can use to move to Nova Scotia as a way to immigrate to Canada and get your permanent residency. So look into them if Nova Scotia is a place that you want to at least come to. Then there is a Northwest Territories Nominee Program. That's the NTNP. Under this particular program, you can qualify under one of the 3 streams that they have. So if you are interested in moving to the Northwest Territories, you can explore any of these 3 and see which one you can use to move to Canada. Then we get to the big boy. That's the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program. That's the OIMP. And this is one of the major streams that I have seen most people and at least friends who have moved to at least Canada used to migrate to Canada by coming through the Ontario route, where they come in, live in Ontario and work because that's their preferred destination. So if you are also interested in living and working in Ontario, you can explore the OIMP as your option. Under this particular program, there are 4 immigration categories that you can use. You can apply for the employer eligibility, business and international students categories through those specific streams. Ontario also uses the Canada Express Entry as a way to streamline the application process. To avoid the video getting too long, I'll just list the other ones that maybe you can do your research on and see whether they are ones that maybe you can use to also migrate to Canada. There is a Prince Edward Island Provincial Nominee Program. That's the PEI-PMP. Under that particular program, there are 7 streams that at least you can explore. Then you have the Quebec Skilled Worker Program. That's the QSWP. But unlike other Canadian provinces, they don't participate in the Provincial Nominee Program. Quebec does not have a specific nominee program. Instead, there are 3 unique programs for permanent workers in Quebec. So you can research any of these 3 and see which ones fits you if Quebec is a place that you want to land in. Then you have the Saskatchewan Immigrant Nominee Program. That's the SIMP. This is for those who want to head to Saskatchewan, live and work there. Under this particular program, you get 8 streams that at least you can qualify under. Last but not the least, you have the Yukon Nominee Program, the YMP. Under this particular program, there are 2 streams that at least you can qualify under. So you can do your research if Yukon is a place that you want to head to. And always remember that all these nominee programs that I've listed, if you qualify under any of them and you apply and you are nominated, you get 600 points, which will just fast track your immigration process when it comes to the express entry. So don't take it lightly. If you are interested in coming to Canada and express entry is not doing you any favors because your scores are very low, explore any of these streams and see which one that at least you can use to make your dream come to a reality. The 5th option that it seems most people haven't actually been able to take advantage of is the Canadian Investor Immigration. This investor category is designed for high net worth individuals who have owned businesses or managed businesses overseas. By allowing experienced business people to invest in the Canadian economy, they will contribute to Canada's overall growth and prosperity. There are essentially 2 investor programs in Canada. You have the Federal Investor Program and the Quebec Program. You can look into any of these 2 as a way to immigrate to Canada if you are a high net worth individual or you have managed a business overseas. Both programs are somewhat similar and require that you, the individual, has to be a high net worth individual and make a large investment in an approved investment fund for the next 5 years. But the good news is you as an investor, you'll be able to bring along your family, your children, your spouses when it comes to this particular program. So these are 5 options besides the study permit route that you can explore if you are interested in coming to Canada between 2022 and 2014 and even after, because I don't think most of these programs are going to be cancelled after 2024. And also remember that these are not the only ways that you can use to migrate to Canada. There are other options, so just do your research. Some of the other options are the CEC category, humanitarian and compassionate application, refugee claims, and even the Atlantic Immigration Pilot programs. So if it's your dream to come to Canada, don't just stick to just one particular route. Look at all these options and see the one that at least will better fit your need. And don't keep all your eggs in one basket because it wouldn't help you. Try and maximize your chances by exploring as many of these as possible to make sure that at least your dream becomes a reality. If you got value out of this video, kindly hit the subscribe button and don't forget to share this video with family and friends who also find value in it. And please remember to hit the notification button so that when I post new videos, YouTube will at least notify you. And remember to share this video. I can't stress this enough. And for those who have been watching my content, kindly subscribe. Till then, see you in the next video.